Celine Carter stood behind the counter of Carter's Diner, staring at the nearly empty dining room. The diner had been her father's dream, a warm place where the community gathered, shared meals, and felt at home. But ever since he passed away, everything had changed. Bills piled up on the counter. The rent was overdue. Customers had slowly disappeared. Her younger brother, Jake, 18, wiped down a table and sighed. So we have to face the truth. We're running out of time. Celine swallowed hard, her eyes drifting to the framed photograph of their father hanging on the wall. He smiled back at her, forever frozen in happier days. I won't let this place die, she said quietly. Yet the stack of unpaid bills told another story. Fear crept into her chest. Was this really the end? Late that night, Celine sat alone at the counter, staring at her phone. She had tried everything, discounts, promotions, flyers, but nothing worked. The diner needed a miracle. Taking a deep breath, she began typing. Carter's Diner has served this community for years, but now we're struggling. If you believe in family dreams and good food, please visit us before it's too late. We don't want to say goodbye. Her finger hovered over the post button. Would anyone even care? Finally, she tapped the screen, sending her plea into the digital world. Closing her eyes, she whispered, "Please, let someone see this." She had no idea her words were about to reach the most unexpected person. The next morning, Celine arrived early, hopeful. She checked her phone. A few likes, some supportive comments, but nothing that could save the diner. Jake flipped through the unpaid bills. "We're 2 weeks away from eviction," he said. "Maybe we should start looking for other options." Celine frowned. "I don't want another option. This is our home." Hours passed. Only a handful of customers came and went. The once busy diner felt like a ghost town. Fighting back tears, Celine cleaned the counter, realizing Jake might be right. Their father's dream was slipping away. Just as she prepared to close for the afternoon, the bell above the door jingled. An elderly woman walked in, her eyes filled with nostalgia as she looked around. "I used to come here with my husband years ago," she said softly. "He loved the pancakes." Celine smiled warmly. "Would you like to order some?" The woman nodded and sat by the window. As she ate, she studied the photographs lining the walls. "This place has history," she said. "It shouldn't disappear." "I wish more people felt that way," Celine admitted. The woman smiled knowingly. "You never know who's listening, dear." Celine didn't realize how true those words would soon become. The woman, Martha, returned the next day, and the day after, she left generous tips and asked questions about the diner's past. One evening, while Celine wiped tables, Martha said gently, "Your father was a good man. He once gave my family a free meal when we had nothing." Celine's eyes widened. "You knew him?" Martha nodded. "He believed kindness always comes back." Emotion tightened Celine's throat. Her father had built the diner on generosity and love. But would that be enough to save it now? Martha patted her hand. "Have faith. Help often comes from unexpected places." That night, as Celine locked up, she found an eviction notice taped to the door. Final deadline, 2 weeks. Her heart dropped. Jake read it over her shoulder. "So, maybe it's time to let go." "I can't," she whispered. This was Dad's dream. "Dreams don't pay the bills," Jake replied gently. Celine clenched her fists. There had to be a way. Just then, her phone buzzed. An unknown number. She answered cautiously. "Hello." A deep voice spoke. "Is this Carter's Diner?" "Yes, who's calling?" A pause. "I'll be visiting tomorrow. Keep a table ready." The line went dead. Celine stared at her phone, heart racing. Who was it? A reporter? A critic? A businessman? The next morning, she told Jake, "Someone important is coming." "How do you know?" "I just have a feeling." They cleaned the diner more thoroughly than ever before. By noon, Celine kept glancing toward the door. Then several black SUVs pulled up outside. The engines rumbled. Conversation stopped. The door opened and a tall, unmistakable figure stepped inside. Donald Trump. The diner fell silent. Customers stared. Jake nearly dropped a plate. "And Mr. President?" Celine stammered. Trump smiled as he looked around. I heard this place needed some support. Celine's eyes darted toward the corner booth where Martha sat quietly, smiling. She gave Celine a small wink. Before Celine could speak, reporters and photographers flooded inside. Cameras flashed as the moment spread across social media. Trump approached the counter. "What's your best dish?" "Our signature pancakes," Celine replied nervously. "I'll take a stack." In the kitchen, Celine's hands trembled as she cooked. Outside, excitement filled the diner. Jake rushed in. "So, we're all over the news." She plated the pancakes, took a steadying breath, and carried them out. Trump took a bite, nodded approvingly, and said, "Fantastic!" Applause erupted. Cameras flashed nonstop. Headlines began forming instantly. "Donald Trump visits struggling family diner." "Tell me about this place," he said. "It was my father's dream," Celine answered. Trump nodded thoughtfully. "Then let's make sure it survives." The diner buzzed with energy as crowds gathered outside. Trump stood, accepted a microphone, and addressed the room. "This place is special," he said, glancing at Celine. "This diner is family-owned," Trump continued, his voice carrying across the room. "Built with hard work and passion. And let me tell you something. America needs places like this." Applause thundered through Carter's diner. Trump raised a hand, smiling. "So I have an idea. I want to sponsor a Carter's Diner Appreciation Day. Free meals for everyone who walks through that door, and I'll cover the bill." Celine's jaw dropped. "Wait, what?" Jake nearly lost his balance. "Are you serious?" Trump smirked. "I never joke about good food." Cheers erupted. Customers clapped, waitresses laughed, and cameras flashed nonstop. Celine felt tears sting her eyes. This wasn't just luck. It was a miracle. The next morning, Celine and Jake arrived before sunrise to prepare. But nothing could have prepared them for what awaited outside. By noon, a massive line stretched down the block. Hundreds of people stood waiting, eager to be part of the event. Reporters interviewed customers while social media influencers live-streamed from the sidewalk. Inside, the diner pulsed with energy. Plates clattered, pancakes sizzled, coffee poured endlessly. Celine and Jake worked nonstop, serving dish after dish as laughter and conversation filled every corner. At her usual table by the window sat Martha, watching calmly with a knowing smile. "I told you," she said as Celine refilled her coffee. "Kindness always comes back around." Celine squeezed her hand. "I don't even know how to thank you." Martha winked. "Just keep cooking, dear. The best is yet to come." By evening, Carter's Diner was trending across every major social media platform. Photos of Trump eating pancakes flooded the internet. The hashtag Save Carter's Diner went viral. Celebrities, influencers, and politicians shared the story. The diner's Instagram gained over 100,000 followers overnight. Celine scrolled through comments in disbelief. "This is the American dream. Visiting ASAP. Small businesses matter." Jake rushed over, holding his phone. "So, we just got a catering request from a major hotel." Her eyes widened. "Is this really happening?" Before she could process it, her phone rang. The caller ID made her heart skip. The White House. She answered nervously. "Hello?" "Celine, this is the White House. The president would like to speak with you." A moment later, Trump's voice came through. "You did good today, Celine." She swallowed hard. "Thank you, sir. I don't know how to." He chuckled. "No need to thank me. You refuse to give up. That's what matters. And that's why I want to help more." "More," she whispered. "I'm offering you a full business grant," he said. "Enough to pay your debts, renovate the diner, and expand. I want to make sure this place never struggles again." Celine gasped. "You're serious?" "I don't joke about success," he replied. "Use it well." Tears filled her eyes. This wasn't just saving the diner. It was a second chance at life. With the grant secured, Carter's Diner underwent a complete transformation. New floors replaced worn tiles. Fresh paint brightened the walls. Modern equipment filled the kitchen, while the diner's classic charm remained untouched. The grand reopening became a national event. Trump returned for the celebration alongside media crews, celebrities, and thousands of excited visitors. Wearing a new apron embroidered with the Carter's Diner logo, Celine stood at the entrance, overwhelmed. This was no longer a failing restaurant. It was an American icon. She turned to Trump. "You changed my life." He smiled. "No, you did. You just needed a little push." Looking around at the packed restaurant, Celine realized her father's dream hadn't just survived. It had been reborn. Weeks passed, and business continued to boom. Travelers crossed the country just to taste the famous pancakes. Celine hired new staff, even former employees who had once left when business declined. The diner that had nearly closed became a beloved landmark. One afternoon, Martha returned to her usual table. "You knew this would happen, didn't you?" Celine asked playfully while serving coffee. Martha chuckled softly. "I had a feeling." Celine sat across from her. "Why did you help me?" Martha's eyes sparkled. "Because years ago, your father helped me when I had nothing. Now life has come full circle." Celine felt warmth spread through her chest. This story was never just about business. It was about people, about kindness, about never giving up. Curious, Celine later searched Martha's name online. One article caught her attention. Martha Davidson, philanthropist credited with saving dozens of struggling small businesses. Celine gasped. Martha wasn't just a kind stranger. She was a legend. The next morning, Celine hurried to the diner, eager to ask her about it. But Martha's table was empty. "Have you seen Martha?" Celine asked the waitress. "Who?" the waitress replied. "The elderly woman who sits by the window." The waitress hesitated. "Celine, that table's been empty for weeks." A chill ran through her. Then she noticed an envelope tucked inside the cash register, her name written in elegant handwriting. Hands trembling, she opened it. "Celine, if you're reading this, my job is done. You never needed saving, only faith. Keep this diner alive. Keep helping others. Remember, kindness always comes back around." At the bottom was a final note. "P.S. Your father would be so proud." Tears streamed down Celine's face. Martha had been real, but perhaps she had been something more, too. Years passed, and Carter's Diner became one of the most famous restaurants in the country. Celebrities, politicians, and families visited daily. Celine and Jake opened a second location, yet never forgot their humble beginnings. On the wall hung a framed photo of Trump eating pancakes beside a quote, "Never give up on your dream. It might just need a little help." Next to it rested Martha's letter. Every morning, Celine brewed an extra cup of coffee and placed it by the window, just in case. One evening, as Celine prepared to close, a young woman hesitated at the door. "Are you still open?" she asked quietly. Celine smiled warmly. "For you, always." The woman sat nervously. "I lost my job. I just needed somewhere warm to sit." Celine placed a plate of pancakes in front of her. "It's on the house." The woman's eyes filled with tears. "Why are you being so kind?" Celine glanced at Martha's letter and smiled softly. "Because someone once taught me that kindness always comes back around." As she turned off the lights that night, Celine knew one thing with certainty. Her father's dream would live on forever,